Hello and welcome to week 18. As I've been noticing a lot of comments in the videos, I also see there is a need that maybe others would like a more advanced sequence. So I am not really an advanced Iyengar teacher. I'm still a level 1 beginner teacher. However, along with this series, where I do plan to finish the entire series, I will try and post a few other videos in between, which is more of a generalized practice for someone who's already been practicing Iyengar Yoga for a while. So stay tuned and look forward to that, so that if you're already an Iyengar Yoga practitioner and you find this series too easy or something you've already done before, then perhaps the new set of sequences will be something you can practice as well. Anyway, that is something that is to come a little bit in the future. For today, we start our practice. So place the fingertips on the support that you're seated on. Lift from the waistline, lift from the sides of the chest. Take your outer shoulders back. Bring your upper arms closer towards the back and lift the side armpit chest. The back armpit here learns to go down and forward. The front lifts up. So there's a kind of coiling action here as we lift the sternum up. See if you can keep this and then bring the palms, letting the base of your thumb rest here at the base of the sternum. Move the fingers slightly away. At the same time, move the thumbs up. Spread your collarbones. Move from the shoulders down to the elbows, maintaining the lift and length of your spine. Softly close your eyes. Lowering your head down. Keeping your attention inward. Taking a few soft, smooth inhales and exhales. And then take a nice, deep, slow, long inhalation. Yogina chitasya padena vacham malam sharirasya chavaidakenam yopa karotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankachakra siddharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Hari Om. Take another deep, slow, long inhale and exhale. Gently lowering your head down. Releasing the hands, placing them back on your legs. Lifting your head up. Open your eyes. Okay, so as always, we start in Tarasana or Samasthiti. So go ahead and stand on the center of your mat. Bringing both sides of the body. So the first step is actually to connect the big toes. So join your right big toe, your left big toe, bring them close. Try to bring them closer towards each other. If you find that it's not possible, then you can even keep a short gap between the heels. Take your attention to the outer ankles, drawing them in, stretching your big toes forward. Focus your attention on the outer thighs, drawing them in, moving your inner knees back and moving the inner groins back, spreading the back of the thighs. So moving the inner thighs back, spreading the buttocks, spreading the back of the thighs helps you to move that tailbone in. So we have to spread in this region and move the tailbone in so the pelvis can lift, the chest can lift, the armpit chest can lift, and roll the shoulders down. Extend your biceps long, extend your forearms, stretch each of your fingers, the palms of your hand. Become alert, become aware of the entire body as you take a position to start your practice. Now, from this position, if you need a belt, please use one. We're going to start with Gomukhasana. So let's start by lifting the right arm up, stretch up. Again, your attention is more on this outer armpit. Also stretch your forearm, lengthen the upper arm, move the upper arm back as much as possible, bending at the elbow. Swing your left hand from below. You can grab your fingers and you stay here in Gomukhasana. Be strong in your Tadasana, stretching your big toes, rolling your left shoulder back, bringing the left shoulder blade in. At the same time, don't let the spine twist. We want our torso to be straight upright as you work on opening the shoulders. Gomukhasana is very good for the shoulders, and it's a pose to do regularly so that you maintain the openness of the chest. Look straight. Now release. Stretch your left arm, again focusing on stretching the left upper arm. Take your attention to the side armpit chest. So lift up, stretch up, maintain the openness, and take your upper arm back. See that your elbow is not bending. You must stretch and lengthen the upper arm bone, and then bending your elbow, swing your right hand from the side. Go ahead, moving from the elbow to the forearm, going towards the fingers. Clasp them if you can. If not, please use a belt. Focus your attention on stretching from the armpit, taking the elbow back, keeping your head straight. Try not to roll the elbow out. So you have to get that outer armpit to roll forward and still stretch up and back. The right shoulder needs to roll back. Once more, spread the back of the thighs, move the tailbone in, lift from the abdomen to the chest. You can slightly look up to open the chest more. And now slowly release. Working on the shoulders again, we are going to do Paschima Baddha Hastasana. So that means you hold your wrist. This is, so Paschima Baddha Hastasana. So you can hold your upper arm. Again, let's start with the right one. So take your left arm, hold. Again, rolling. The back armpit comes forward, bringing the shoulders back and stretching down. Extending and then grabbing the other side. So again, the work is to move from the back armpit to the front armpit and at the same time lengthening the biceps, moving the arms down. Spreading the chest, bringing the shoulder blades closer towards the spine. Let's change. Now extend your left arm, take your right upper arm holding. Again, this back armpit rotates, shoulders go down, stretching, and then grab the other side. Try to see if you can bring your elbows closer and roll the shoulders down. Spread your collarbones. But standing tall, big toes stretching, weight is on the heel. Now release. Utthita Trikonasana. Bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. We are in Utthita Padottanasana, so you know the distance that we need to take. Stretch your arms, extend the fingers, tighten your elbows. Turn your right leg from the root of the leg, the knee turns, the foot turns. Stamp the left outer edge of the feet, keep the heel back, lift the right side of the chest as you go down, moving from the hip. Once you've taken your arm down, again, we move the right outer hip in, lift the right hip up to the left, lift the right side of the chest to the left. Use your left upper arm to lift the whole left side of the body. If you're able to go down, be aware that both sides of your torso stay even and your chest is not facing forward. If your chest is facing forward and you're low down, it's okay to come up so that you can get the rotation, the lift of the front pelvic bone up. Yeah, so we don't want this to collapse. Now inhale and come up. Toes pointing straight again. Spread from the center of the chest, turning your left leg from the thigh. The whole knee turns, the left inner knee turns. Stretch your left big toe. Focus your attention on the right thigh bone, keeping it back. Draw the left hip in, but don't shorten the right side of your waistline. Be connected with the right sitting bone, dropping it down so the right hip stays up. Maintaining this, going from the strong root on the right side, elongate the left side of your body and place your hand down on your leg. Your focus is to stretch the spine. If your left buttock is coming close towards the waistline, you have to move that left buttock away. You have to lengthen the left waistline away from the hip and turn your chest as you go down. See that your arm is not too far back. Keep it in line with your shoulder, head straight. It's okay to turn your head, but first, if you haven't got the rotation of the chest, the stability of the hips, don't worry about turning your head, because that way we really lose the complete turn that we can get. Now inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and come back to standing. Once more, joining your big toes, stretching your big toes forward, shifting your weight to the heel, bringing your outer thighs in, outer hips in, standing tall, lifting the side armpit chest, rolling the shoulders back, elbows straight. Next, we go for Virabhadrasana 2. So once more, bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Spread from the center of the chest. By now, I think you should know these. We've done 17 weeks already. So these poses should be something you know the name of and you can practice on your own with ease. Turn your right leg out completely. Keep your left foot firm. Keep a compactness on the hips. The front hip bones lifting as you bend your front leg. When you bend your front leg, you want to go down to create that 90 degree with the leg. At the same time, you want to see that the inner knee goes to the outer knee. The outer knee goes into the hip here. It's the hip that has to turn. Yeah, so we have to lift the hip, turn to the left side, and from the thigh moving back, stamping the outer edges of the heels. Maintaining this, go down. Turn your head to look at your right. Lengthen both sides of the torso evenly, moving the shoulders down, stretching the center of the chest. Now, keeping your left leg very straight, pressing into the outer edge of the heel. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, readjusting your feet. Again, spreading from the center of the chest, keeping the chest open. Turn your left leg out completely, stretching your left big toe. Stamp the outer edge of your right heel. Again, keeping the pelvis level. Begin to bend your left knee from the thigh as you go down. Observe that your knee doesn't go beyond the ankle. Change your distance if necessary. Here also, there's a tendency of the torso to twerk and turn. This is what we want to see, that the knee goes to the hip lifts, and we turn from the left to the right, the left side of the chest to the right, and then go down from the pelvis. Be strong on your right leg. This back thigh moves back, your right inner thigh moves back. Now turn your head to look towards your left. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in and jump, and we come back to standing. Next, we go for Utthita Parsvakonasana. I'm going to keep 2 blocks behind me. You can also place them. Stand with your big toes close, extending your big toes, bringing your outer shins in, creating a compactness on the legs. The more the legs are compact, we can lift and lengthen our spine, rolling the shoulders back. Bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Stretch out from the center of the chest. Once more, turning your right leg out, Press into the left heel. Take a deep inhale. With an exhalation, go down to Virabhadrasana 2. Like in Trikonasana, elongate the whole waistline, layering it down. Go as close as you can to the thigh. Adjust your block as necessary. You can start with your hands on the pelvis. Your knee has to go in the direction of the arm. At the same time, learn to turn from the right side of the chest to the left. Right side of your whole torso turns. Turning your torso, be strong on the left leg once you've turned, and then you can stretch your arm up. If you're able to turn your head, look at your inner left elbow. Lengthen that left upper arm. At the same time, keep moving your right inner knee to the outer knee and your right buttock forward towards the screen. Lift that right hip up. Make both sides of your torso long. Stamp your left heel strong. Now use the top arm. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Spread your arms from the center of the chest. Again, turning your left leg out, stamping the right foot. Keep your weight heavy on the right heel so the right root of the thigh stays back. Keep the left hip up. Begin to bend your left leg. Once you bend it, again, keeping the pelvis turning from the left to the right, elongating your torso. As you go down, place your hand on the block. You can start with your right hand on the hip. Make a connection so your knee moves in the direction of your left upper arm, but at the same time, move the left buttock away. So you want to not move it this direction. You want to move it away and turn. Turn your chest. Elongate the left side of your body and then maintaining this, stretch your right upper arm. Give a good stretch from this outer armpit into the fingers. At the same time, see that your pelvis is turning and you have a strong root on your right outer edge of the heel. Don't collapse into the pose in this way. You can see how the weight is all falling on the front leg. In yoga, we want a kind of evenness of movement. So divide the energy equally as you extend, lengthening both sides. Now use the top arm. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and come back to standing. Pause here for a few moments. Big toes once more, lengthening forward, rolling the shoulders back, stretching from the tops of the shoulders into the arms. We're going to go for Virabhadrasana 1 next. So I'm going to move the blocks out as we won't need them. I'm putting them back in the shelf because it's kind of neat like that rather than keeping it randomly, right? Okay, so that's my level of being neat. Anyway, so let us start with Virabhadrasana 1. So bring your hands in the center again, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. The arms here also helps to lift the side chest. So bring your upper arms as close as you can towards the head. If you find your arms in this kind of a state, that means you might have tighter shoulders. And it's okay to keep your arms out wide, but make your elbows straight. Stretch your inner forearms, lift up, stretch up. And that's a good way to lift the torso up. Now we are turning to the right side. So first you may turn your right leg out completely. Turn your left foot more than you did before. See that the shin doesn't drop. So keep your lower leg back. And it's only from the back of the thigh that the hip turns. You can also consider spreading the buttocks away from each other. That's another way to do it. So spread your buttocks away from each other and you create a kind of connection with both your legs. And now bend your front leg. Please notice I'm really working on keeping my left leg straight. Left hip shouldn't fall, stays back. But lift your left waistline up, upper arm up, as you turn your chest from the left side of the waistline to the right, the left side of the chest to the right, and then you go down. As you go down, keep lifting the side chest, moving the dorsal in, taking your arms back if you can behind your head. Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale and come up. Turn yourself around. Feet pointing straight again. Let's try and keep the arms up. Yeah, I think it's good work. So inner shoulders, outer shoulders, upper arms coming in, stretching up, turning towards the left. So first we turn the left leg out, turn your right foot in, make a distance correct. See that your right thigh is not dropping. And this can happen because of the tightness. So be strong on your right inner thigh. Lift that right inner hip up. Keep it back. That means your right sitting bone has to go down and not go out. And then turn your chest. Maintain the right sitting bone down, right front hip lifting as you bend your front leg. Be with your back leg because this is what keeps it. Also, sometimes our left hip goes forward. Draw the left knee into the hip so the hip stays back. That's how we can rotate better, turning our chest, stretching up, upper arms going behind your ears if you can, and go down from the hip. Again, back leg firm, shin bone lifting, turning from the right to the left. Stretch up. Virabhadrasana, 1. Come up, turn your chest, turn your toes, and jump and walk your legs back. Returning back to the center. Yes. Okay, Vrksasana next. We move on to some balancing poses. As always, you can take any support. There are many videos previously which show you how you can do it with support. You can use a chair next to you. You can go close standing to the wall. Okay, so let's just start free. So placing your hands on your hips, lift your right leg up, bending, place the foot as close as you can to your left inner groin. Focus your attention on these outer thighs, drawing them in, stretching your right knee down and also moving the knee back. But don't turn your hip back. And this is the work of the hip opening. The knee goes back, but the hip turns forward. Stay more on the inner part of your left foot. Don't hang the hips out. Then stretch your arms. And if you can, elongate your torso, stretching up, lifting up. Turn the chest, turn your hip to face forward. The right knee goes down, the left outer hip stays in. Vrksasana. Keep stretching your left big toe. Don't hang on the outside of your hip. Bring your hands down. Let's change. Big toes connect again. Let's lift our left foot up. Rotating the foot so the whole foot rests. And again, if you find it slipping, then place it in a place where you feel the foot has a secure hold. Press the foot into the thigh, compact your outer hips, stretching from the inner groin to the inner knee. At the same time, lengthening this thigh downward, moving the left hip forward. Keep stretching through your right big toe. And go ahead and lift and lengthen both sides of the torso up. Stretch up, lift up. You use your arms to stretch your torso. At the same time, be firm on the hips and extend your heels firmly into the mat. Be strong, stable in Vrksasana. Now release. Bring your hands down. Lower your foot down. And pause. Ardha Chandrasana. So we are going actually one after another into 3 balancing poses. Guess what is coming after Ardha Chandrasana? I'll keep you guessing. But let's start with Ardha Chandrasana. So again, bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Turn your right leg out. Take a deep inhale, go down to Trikonasana. Please use blocks if you need to. Bending your leg, walking your hand forward. And keeping your right inner knee moving to the outer knee. The right buttock moves into the body so your legs are straight as you lift your left leg up. Keep your inner leg stretching. Extend. Turn from the abdomen, turn from the chest, stretch up through the arms. Your leg has to be firm. Here, this hip has to be firm as you stretch your leg. At the same time, be firm on the heel. turning your chest, stretching your arm up. Ardha Chandrasana on the right side. Bend your knee, with control come down. And then let's do the other side. So I slightly shift a little bit to the other side. Stretch your arms, turn your left leg out completely. Take a deep inhale, lengthening your torso, going down, bending your leg, placing your hand. You have to reach your hand a little forward. You can see how that extends the torso. As you bring the back leg closer and you reach forward, again, you have to roll that inner knee to the outer knee, but see that that left hip stays firm. It's like you're moving that left hip into the body, so it stays firm. And then once your leg is straight, turn from the left hip to the right, lift from the left armpit to the right, keep your arms straight, stretch your right leg long. As you stretch your right leg long, you also want to see that your left arm is stable, your right upper arm is reaching. Both try to stretch in different directions. You see, I'm going up, back, down, so then you stay balanced. Now bend your knee, throw the leg back, straighten, and inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and come back to the center. Pause. You know, sometimes I don't know if anybody really follows the whole videos, to be honest, but even if you've done so much, that's not too bad, right? You've done something for the day. So stand with your big toes close together and let's push it to one more. Virabhadrasana 3. So I'm going to shift myself a little bit to that side because otherwise you know how I can crash into that wall. So here we are. So, oops, it's a bit messy. Yeah, the obsession to get your mat straight. Okay, so stand with your big toes close together. Bring your hands in the center. Bend your knees. Jump and spread your legs out. First, starting with Virabhadrasana 1. Lift up, stretch up. Turn yourself to the right side in Virabhadrasana 1. You know these things at the beginning. Remember, this upper arm has to be very firm. Don't let them be loose and drop. They also hold our torso in line. So when you go forward, even if you cannot balance, keep the upper arm lifting and stretching forward. As you come forward and you decide to lift your back leg up, extend your body in two directions. The back of the thigh turns, the outer hip stays, your chest goes down, but your upper arm lifts. Look straight. Oops. And now bend your knee and come up. Bring your hands down. And let's do the other side. So I'm going to shift myself this direction so I can go to the other side. Stretch your arms out. Rotate. Lift up. Stretch up. Turning yourself to the left. Bending your front leg. Keep the upper arms tight. Go forward. Look forward as you extend. Lifting the back leg up. Moving the hip down. Extending the legs as you stretch your torso, stretch your legs. Upper arms lifting, chest dropping. Now bend your leg. Inhale. Come up. Turn yourself. And jump. And bring yourself back. That actually felt quite tough. I haven't been doing Virabhadrasana for a while and I can feel the difference. And that's the interesting thing about practice, right? You think you've done that pose, you think you can do it, and then you give a little bit of a gap, and it's a great kind of space to realize, oh, suddenly your body is not tuned to holding the pose together. And I would say that is true of doing any practice. That's why one of the things is that when you start practicing yoga, it kind of becomes something you have to do regularly because you might think you know something and then you put a bit gap, and then definitely your practice deteriorates. Yeah, so that's just something experientially I can share. Okay, so what is the next pose? We are going to do Parvritta Trikonasana, right? So Parvritta Trikonasana. So let's start with Parvritta Trikonasana. So once more, standing tall. You can take a block, you can take a chair, whatever you need. Otherwise, start out with your hands at the center. Bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Turn your right leg out completely. Turn your left foot in. See that your left thigh stays down. And we already start the turn. So the hip stays. We turn the abdomen towards the right. We turn the chest towards the right. And at the same time, we are also going down. As you go down, you can place your hand on the outside. You can place your hands on the inside, whatever is possible for you. If you cannot, your chest is more tight, you can keep your hand on the hip. So what is the first action? The back leg stays firm and you have to turn from the hip, keeping the torso. So it's a turning of the ribs here as you turn your ribs and then lifting that top arm up to stretch the ribs. So lengthening, turning, keeping the legs firm, turning from the abdomen, keeping the back leg firm. Chest open. Now use your top arm. Inhale and come up. Parvritta on the left side. So opening from the center of the chest. Please turn your left leg out completely. Turn your right foot in. See that you're turning from the back of the thigh. As you start revolving your waistline, you can take your the arm down, but go down with the side of the chest. As you go down, you place your hand. Again, we turn the abdomen, turn the chest, lift up. Make sure your left leg is straight. It tends to bend. So move that left outer hip back, making the left leg straight, and turn the abdomen, turn the chest. Keep the shoulders back, head back, but chest moving forward. Also, the right inner leg, lift the right inner shin bone and turn from the back of your right thigh. Press your right heel. Now look forward with stability. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and bring your legs back. Pausing again, taking the shoulders back. So the next pose is Parvritta Parsvakonasana. Again, it's a difficult standing pose, no doubt. So you can do whatever. I'll give you some arm variations, but in general, this is the pose. So we start again. Bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, spread your arms, keep the legs firm, stretch from the center of the chest. Here we start in Vimanasana. So you turn your right leg, you turn your left foot, you turn your chest, the arms are wide. Go down and bend your front leg, create the 90 degree. Then from here, we start turning, we cutting this arm across as much as we can go to the outside. So it's like a crossing over, yeah? So you take the arm across. If you can hook, you can hook. You can stay here. This leg stays. Again, it's a turning of the abdomen, turning of the chest. Don't lift your hip up, lower your hip down, and move the knee away and turn. If your hand can go down, keep it down. Revolving the chest and then reaching the top arm up. Be strong on the back leg, stretch the top arm. Turn. Now, use the hand. See if you can come into Vimanasana first. Then straighten. Turn yourself around. Relax your hands for a while. And then we do the other side. So spread your arms. Turn your left leg out. Turn your right foot in. Bending the front leg and revolving the pelvis, revolving the chest, keeping your right thigh tight. Lengthen the right waistline. Move your right upper arm to the outside of your left thigh. Place your hand down if you can, or just keep it hooked. And then from here, we have to turn this. So I have to touch here. The abdomen has to turn. The leg has to turn. The ribs have to move. So this is definitely a hard pose to achieve, but that's the work, yeah? So the rotation of the rib cage, the compactness of the pelvis, and then maintaining all of that, you stretch up, extend, and keep the back leg straight. Now slowly, again, stretch your arms out to the side. And from here, come up, turn your chest, turn your feet, jump, and come back. Next, we go for Parsvottanasana, right? So Parsvottanasana. So once more, bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Have a good distance. Let's bring our hands on the hips and turn ourselves to the right. So you turn your right leg out, turn your left foot in, see that the hips are compact, keeping the compactness of the hips, revolving your pelvis, turning your pelvis, keeping the legs firm, and turning from the chest. Go forward. As you go forward, you can start by placing your hands on the block or on the floor. So everything in the hip, this stays back, the buttock stays back. But you move the abdomen forward, the chest forward, and then turning again from the left side of the waistline to the right, moving as you go down. As you go down, there's a tendency to shorten. This part will bulge out, this part will shorten. So you really have to tuck your right outer hip in. You have to move this right rib cage towards the left, your left to the right as you layer your whole torso over your right leg. You can release your head down. If your back is rounding, stay more upright. Now inhale, look up, be strong on the back leg, hands on the pelvis, inhale and come up. Once more, feet pointing straight, keeping the heels grounded, shoulders back. Turn your left leg completely, turn your right foot in, keep the firmness of the pelvis. As you turn your pelvis, go forward from the hip, keeping the thigh back, going from the pelvis. Once you've reached your limit, again, placing your hands on the floor. Stretch your left big toe so the knee doesn't bend. It will move that left hip back. The left hip likes to go forward. Moving that left hip back, moving it in the direction so that you connect with your right hip. Both sides of your torso become long. Now turn from the right waistline to the left, shifting your torso, lining up your torso over your left leg, keeping the right leg firm, lengthening your torso forward, hips back, chest forward. Then if you can, lower your head down, spread your back, turning your chest, turning your abdomen, back leg firm. Now inhale, straighten, walk your hands in, concave back, press into the back leg, inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and come back to the center. Once more, joining your big toes, extending through the big toes, keeping your shoulders back, upper arms extending, stretching down through the fingertips. Next, we go for Prasarita Padottanasana. So, bring your hands in, jump, and spread your legs. Stretch your arms from the center, stamp the outer edges of the heel. Remember to keep the compactness here. It's a pinching action. That means don't let your thighs come forward. You draw the thighs into the hip socket as you bring your pelvis forward. Keep the inner legs working, chin forward, chest forward. You can stay with your hands just in concave back like this, or if you're able to, walk your hands in line with your feet, but keep the same distance as the shoulders. Bring your upper arms in. Let your head go down. As the crown of your head goes down, allow the pelvis to come a little bit forward. Head goes down. Outer elbows in. Press the palms. Shoulders lifted. Letting the torso go down. Thighs tight. Lifting the shoulders. Moving the back ribs in. Knees tight. Go more to the background of your head. This is where we get used to letting the head go down, as we are going to go towards Virasana for sure later. So this is the beginning where we allow the head to go down. We get used to placing our head in a lower position than our heart. At the same time, we are learning here how the arms go into the shoulders lift, the upper arms stay firm. So the weight of the torso is not going downward towards the head. Your legs have to carry you. It's a light touch. Now look forward. Bring your hands in front, stamping the legs. Inhale and come up. Jump your legs. Now that was actually quite a strong standing pose sequence. So if you've kept up, well done. Now we are going to go for Uttanasana. So you can turn around, you can use a belt, you can just use whatever is possible. Your toes are stretching forward, thighs back, and shins lifting, keeping the hips compact, going forward, elongating your torso as you go down, placing your hands, creating the length from the abdomen, rolling your upper arms, and then releasing your head down, chest up. Keep the thighs pulling up. If we drop, you see, this starts to curve. Draw the thighs into the hip. You can slightly experiment. Lift your heels a little, lift your sitting bones, and then once your sitting bones are lifted, you can still hold, then release, and then stretch your heels down. See if that helps you to stretch from the back of the knees upward and calf muscle downward. The knees should be lifting. Don't be relaxed here. Yeah, this muscle has to go to the hip. You can hold the ankles. Abdomen, chest, head last. Stretch the armpits. Now slowly release. Look forward. Coming into concave back. Stamping the heels. Inhale and come up. Okay. Now we are going to go for Padangustasana. You can use a belt as well if you need. Otherwise, stand with your feet apart. Your first two fingers holds the big toes. Stamp the big toes. Again, keep the upper arms tight. Move the arms away from the thighs. So the thighs move back, the upper arms move forward. Roll your pelvis over your heels, keeping your legs tight, elongating your torso, stretch your spine, keep the side body long. So when we are rounding, you have to learn to make the front body. Now try to see the relationship with this and that, right? When I shorten here, you can see how this part starts to round and spread. So a lot of our work has to be to stretch the front of our spine. So you have to learn to move your front ribs forward, and then the back ribs learn to move in. So lengthen the waistline, lengthen the front of the body. That's why it's important to create this front length. And then after you've created the front length, you try to keep the front body long. Don't shorten and only go down as much as possible. Whenever you see it grounding, you stop and then you stretch and you go from the pelvis. Yeah, so this is going to improve your spine. So keep your legs firm, lengthening keeping the front spine long as you go down. Press your big toes into the toes and pull up. So this pulling up also helps the whole torso. Knees tight, thighs tight. Now once more, lifting your head up, pressing into the big toes. Bring your hands on the pelvis. Inhale and come up. Okay, so now we are going to do Adho Mukha Svanasana. So come right to the top of the mat. I'm just going to adjust the mat a little bit. So let's start with Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can stand with your feet together. Reach your arms up, elongating your torso. Spread the fingers evenly. Keep the weight on the index finger and the thumb side. Step your leg back, big distance between the legs. Again, if you're in this position, you definitely have to take your legs back. So the point is to get that thigh to connect to the hip. And then once you've got the thighs connected to the hip, it's the front of the thigh that moves back, right? So that's how you elongate your torso. So you have to connect. If it's collapsing, there's no chance, yeah? So you can be kind of collapsing into the pose. So you have to press, your upper arms lifting, your armpit stretching, that's the top part of the chest. But what about the lower part? So you have to lift your heels, get that hip to connect, thigh to connect to your hip, hugging and stretch back. Thighs tight, and then slowly your heels might go down. But keep a distance. You want the whole spine to get the extension and not shorten your distance trying to get your heels down. Now slowly walk forward and come up. Okay, so we are going to do Surya Namaskar. We started learning it. And yeah, you might find it quite different that in Iyengar Yoga, after we've done all the standing poses, that we actually do Surya Namaskar a little later in the sequence and not right at the beginning. This is true when we are learning. So once you finish the course, of course, the sequence can depend on what your teacher wishes to explore that day. But for now, if you go with the sequence of learning Iyengar Yoga, then usually the sun salutations come more in the middle of your sequence. So stand with your big toes close, shift the weight to the heels, starting with Namaskarasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, Chaturanga Dandasana, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, Uttanasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Namaskarasana, Tarasana. Let's do two more. Tarasana, Namaskarasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, Chaturanga Dandasana, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, Uttanasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Namaskarasana, Tarasana. Joining your big toes again. Let's do one more. Namaskarasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana, Adho Svanasana, Urdhva Svanasana, Chaturanga Dandasana, Urdhva Svanasana, Adho Svanasana, Uttanasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Namaskarasana, and Tarasana. Shoulders back, elbows straight, standing tall. Okay? Okay, now we are going to come down to the seated poses. So we start with, that ends the sequence of the standing poses. And maybe sometimes you can even just do this much. Okay, so now we are going to move on to some of the seated poses. Let's start with Virasana. If you need any support, you can sit on a block. So I'm going to use a block actually, but if you are able to sit also on the floor, that's fine. But you can place your block and you place the block for your sitting bones. You extend, your knees are straight, and you stretch the tops of the feet down. It's a little bit off. Okay, so let us start with the seated poses in Virasana. You bring your knees close together, hug the block with your inner ankles, put your hands between the knees, move the calf flesh out as you sit down. See that the tops of the shin are pressing firmly down, all the toes are spread well. As you press the tops of the feet down, sitting up in Virasana. You can place your hands on your heels, lift the side chest, taking the shoulders back, bringing your upper arms in, lifting both sides of the chest evenly. In Virasana, we are going to do Gomukhasana. So reach your right arm up. We did it already standing. Stretch your armpit, take your right arm back, swing your left arm from below, grabbing the wrist or your fingers, or even using a belt as necessary. We are stretching the arms, opening the shoulders, opening the left shoulder back, taking your right upper arm back. Lift both sides of the waistline, moving the back ribs in. Now change. So take your left upper arm up, extend, bending at the elbow, swing the arm from below, hold the fingers, stretching your armpit, rolling the shoulders back, pressing the tops of the feet down. Chin up, chest up, breathe comfortably. Now release. Next, we are going to go for Parigasana. So if you need an extra blanket for your knees, you can do that. I'm going to just be on the mat. So start with your feet together, knees together, keeping a compactness of the hips. Bend your right leg. See that your heel and your knee is in line, and stretch your right leg straight. You can have your heel up, but the actual pose is the foot is down. And if you find that having the foot down like this is difficult, your ankle doesn't have that much openness, you can slightly turn your foot in as well. But the thigh turns out. So you have a choice in terms of the foot based on your ankle, but your hips remain compact. Again, we are lifting the front hip bones up, stretching your arms up, keeping the outer hips long, elongate the torso, go down. Now in Parigasana, unlike in Trikonasana, we let the top side of the chest curve a little. So the point is to go down as much as you can and then take the arm across and grab the side. And yet we turn. Yeah, so definitely it's not a pose that really extends, but it's a question of stretching, turning, doing the pose as best as you can. And then inhale and come up. Bring your hands down. Bring your right leg back. Again, knees close, outer hips close. Left foot stays out. Stretch your left leg long. Again, the thigh, the hip stays lifted. You reach your arms chest stays forward. You can have your foot this way so the leg connection is clear, or you can have your foot down if you're able to do it and extend your whole waistline down. Now, if it's difficult to go lower, this is another variation. You can stay here, elongate your torso, turn the chest, and stretch your arm across. This is also good. See that your legs are straight, your hip is not dropping. If you can maintain this and still go down, go ahead, give it a shot. Go down, legs straight, turning, and see if you can stretch that top arm and almost touch. Yeah, so turning, definitely not keeping form, but yes, a little extension of both sides. So the hands actually touch like this. And then you come up, so the hand goes this way. Okay, now that was Vrksasana. So bring your knees in, and we are going to go for, guess what? Salamba Sirsasana. So get ready. If you want to go to the wall, go to the wall. If you're doing it free, then you're doing it free. Or if you're not able to do Sirsasana, you can also do the preparation work, right? So the preparation work can be just being on your forearms, having a good interlace, pressing your forearms down and lifting yourself up. Keep stretching your forearms, keeping your elbows in, lifting the shoulders, learning to walk your legs in, learning to lift your hips up. Remember, it's the same Adho Mukha Svanasana action, so that later you can get your hips in line. If your spine is not ready and it is rounding in this manner, don't just keep stretching the armpit, pressing the forearm. You can also practice the leg lift, so you get ready to do the pose later. And if you are going up, then you can go up. So let's do a short sequence. I'm going to put a little blanket for the head. You can, of course, go to the wall if you wish. So again, this edge of the blanket is useful because then you know that your elbows are in the same line. You can interlace your hands, press your elbows down. The forearm, especially the gap here, it's a great way to understand if you're really grounding. So when you're in the pose, really stretch the forearms, interlace your hands, and keep a kind of rounded space here. So when you place the crown of your head down, you want to keep the hands not collapsing, moving in the direction of your head, but your head moving into the hands. So they're moving into each other. And then you lift your shoulders and you can stay here practicing, or you can walk your hands in. If you can bend your knees, you can bend your knees and go up. This is another way. Your knees go back, your buttock moves in, and you can straighten your legs up. So Salamba Sirsasana, try to connect your big toes, stretch your legs long, spreading the buttocks, moving the tailbone in, strongly pressing your forearms down, stretch both sides of the body. Open the bottom of your feet, thighs tight. You can slowly work your duration of the pose. If you've been practicing and it's coming to you more and more, Sirsasana is very important. It's a pose to do. Of course, if you're menstruating, you have any other neck, shoulder issue, or anything that your doctor has forbidden you to do, any kind of poses wearing weight on your head, then please do not do this. Keep stretching your legs, pressing your forearms, lifting your shoulders. When you're at this stage, you can stay for between a minute and a half, or 2 minutes, slowly working yourself up to 3 minutes. Now slowly, let's come down today. You can bend your knees and come down, or come down however you find it easy for you. And then just rest for a few breaths. Now inhale and come up. Okay, so now we're almost halfway down the sequence. We still have a few postures to go for. So next we are going to, let me see the list. Yes, we're going to do Virabhadrasana. So let's use this blanket itself. There are many ways you can do Virabhadrasana. You can do it on a chair. You can also do it with support. So you can start in Dandasana. And I can show you from the side as well. So we start in Dandasana and you're taking your legs over to your left side. Yeah, so you see how the ankle is resting on the arch of the foot. And because my hips are tilted, I take a blanket and I place my pelvis in such a way so my left hip goes down. My knees are pointing straight. And it's good, you can see my back. We always turn to the right. So you take your left arm, hold the outside of your right knee, push your right knee down, but lift up so that you can create the lift of the chest. Your right arm goes back, but don't move it too far back. We are staying here. Lift your sacrum and then turn from the left waistline to the right, turning your torso, turning your back. Stay in the center. Lift up. These muscles are what we are learning. You see, they pull back. Yeah, so that's why we cannot turn. So when you use this grip, you lift the side chest, turn, turn, spreading the spinal muscles away. At the same time, moving the upper arm closer. Keep your left hip down, left waistline up, and turn. Now release. Straightening your legs. Sitting in Dandasana. Taking your knees over to the right side. You know the foot position by now. Virabhadrasana is good to open the back ribs. Positioning your blanket so your hips are level again. Descend your right outer hip down. See that the left hip is lifted. Sometimes our hips can be a little bit more tight on the other side. So do adjust your distance so you're not shifting over, right? So if you find your right hip is really hiking up, then you need to lift up the left a little bit more. Now take your right arm, hold the left knee. As you press this down, use this leverage to lift the waistline. And the turning, again, we turn from the belly button. So turn your abdomen, turn your chest, and taking the other hand back. The more we bring this down, you see this is the collapse, whereas we want to stay here. The sacrum has to lift, the abdomen has to lift, and we turn our abdomen, turn our chest. Use your hand to turn. Moving the shoulder blade in, turning the chest, Virabhadrasana. Now slowly release. Okay, now we are going to go for Dandasana. So again, you can sit on a little bit of height if that gives your pelvis a better lift. A lot of the work is in the legs. That's why Danda, which is like a stick. So in a way, your legs have to be like a stick. And usually there's tightness, the pelvis drops, and the spine collapses. So first, focus your attention on those big toes. Bring your big toes close together, squeezing them in. Then descend your frontal thighs down. Hug the outer hips in. As you descend the thighs down, press your hands and lift up. Keep stretching your legs long away from the pelvis as you draw them closer. So not only are you compacting them, you're stretching your inner legs long, descending them down to create the lift of the pelvis, thighs down. And then once the sacrum is lifting, chest is lifting, move the dorsal in, roll the shoulders back, hands pressing down. Dandasana, back ribs in, stretching the legs, thighs tight, chest up. Now relax. And we move on to a few of our, so we go for Parvritta in Swastikasana. And so you can face me. You can sit again on a height. We've done Swastikasana before. So how do we do the pose? You first take your legs straight in Dandasana. And remember Janu Shirshasana. So you can move your right leg out like this. And then you bring the foot through. And then you cross at the shin. And you let your feet be the support of the outer knees. So it's a more of a compacted here, not loose like this. Yeah. So you draw the thighs in, gripping here as you lift up. And if this is not possible, please sit higher. So Parvritta, let's take our right thumb on top of the left, interlace the hands, spread the palms of the hand, outer elbows in, spreading the palms with an inhalation, go up. Again, rolling the inner shoulders back, outer shoulders in, stretch your forearms, stretch your upper arm, lift both sides of the waistline. Keep the hips pressing down. Now bring your hands down. Let's change the legs also. So straighten out your legs. Take your left knee back like you take your knee back. And then you draw, rolling the hip in, bringing the foot across underneath your right thigh. And then you cross over at the shin bone and you place your feet underneath your knees. And we sit upright. Stretch your arms straight. This time we take our left thumb on top, interlace the hands again, turning the palms out, spreading through the palms, upper arms tight, and with an inhalation, go ahead and stretch your arms up. Stretch both sides of the arms, outer shoulders rolling forward, lift the waistline, lift and stretch upward. And now slowly release and bring your hands down. Next, we go for Paschimottanasana and Janu Shirshasana. So go ahead and do the sideways variation. So sitting on your support, if you need any belt, please use it. Legs are straight, toes straight, pressing your thighs down, bending your right leg, moving the knee back, getting the heel to come closer to the groin. And the knee has a movement of going back and down, pressing down, and your pelvis starts to lift and turn. So there is a rotation. This is going back and down, and you're lifting the pelvis up, revolving the chest. Keep your left leg straight, outer shin bone in, reach up with your arm. As the knee goes back, we turn our abdomen, our torso in the direction of our left leg. Keep the arms extended, reach, keep elongating, go down. Once you've grabbed your leg, lift up. Remember Padangustasana? We kind of use the same connection. You hold lift the upper arms, lift the side chest, turn from the right side of the abdomen to the left, and then looking forward, go down. Janu Shirshasana, your elbows lifting, stretching the armpits. Knee goes back, hip turns, torso turns, letting your head go down. Now inhale and come up. Let's change. I'll turn around so it's easy for you to see the bent leg. Starting out in Dandasana. Pressing the thighs down, lifting the chest, lifting the waistline, bending your left knee, moving the knee back, but don't move your hip back. Yeah, that's a different pose. You move your knee back as much as you can. You move your heel in line with your groin. and you move the knee down. Then you move the hip forward and the knee back. Yeah, this is the movement that we want. At the same time, be on the inside of your right leg and lift the chest, stretch your arm, keep extending your right inner leg, descending the thigh down, turn from the left side of the abdomen to the right, turn from the left armpit, go forward. It's a bit like Parvritta action. And again, we lift, moving the back ribs in. And how do we move the back ribs in? We also learned this. You have to learn to move that front rib forward, right? And lengthen the front of your spine, moving the back of the body in. And then again, you may stay up here. It's totally okay. You just work on the knee, you work on your pelvis turning, your chest, and slowly the muscles open. If you have mobility, you may go down. Keep your attention on your right inner heel. Notice how we lean on the outer edge of the right heel. Shift your weight back. Keep your right outer hip in. Stretch your right inner leg. And as you take your left knee back, turn from the left side of the abdomen to the right and grow long from both sides of your torso. Now look up, come up through concave back, and come upright. Paschimottanasana. So both legs are straight. Thighs are tight. Paschimottanasana. Reach your arms up. Stretch up. Elongate your torso. Go down. Again, lift the waistline, lift the chest, moving the sacrum in, and then moving your abdomen in. Thighs come into the hip socket, lifting the sacrum, lifting the abdomen as you go down, moving the back ribs in, elbows out, and going forward. Keep pressing your thighs down, abdomen soft. The back of the legs are going down to the floor. Your torso is going forward. Look forward. Now inhale and come up. We also learned Triyanga Mukha Pada Paschimottanasana, so we are going to do that. You can use support for this if you need to have the support for your Virasana leg. So again, your right leg can be bent. Your foot is in this position. Yeah, so especially if you're in this position, please sit higher so that your shin can descend down. Your shin is stretching. Your hips are levelized. So you have a level pelvis. You keep your legs straight. Again, reach up with the arms, upper arms lifting. Press down with the tops of the feet. Lift the pelvis, lift the chest. Extend the arms forward as you go. Hold on to your legs. Again, keep the rooting of the hips, the feet, the thighs. But we lift our pelvis up, chest up, and go forward. Now inhale and come up. And let's change. I'll go that side. So your left foot bends. Your right leg is straight. Your hips are level as you pressurize the shin bone, keeping the hips firm. Reach up with the arms. Lift up, stretch up, keeping your right leg firm. Pressing the right thigh down. Lift the right front hip, right waistline. Go forward. Maintain that extension. Go down. Again, here it's a much more even pose, but you have to still work, keeping the outer hip in, pressing the shin, and lengthen the waistline, lengthen the chest. Keep pressing your left thigh down, your right thigh down. Mukha Paschimottanasana. Now inhale and come up. Okay. Now we are going to go for Paripurna Navasana. Remember Paripurna Navasana? Here also the legs are quite key. So it's a good pose in terms of abdominal work. You can keep a little bit of a support. Yeah, so it's an easier way to lift your pelvis. So we have a few variations. You can keep your knees bent, and it's this, your thighs go into the hip socket, squeeze in, and you move your chest in. Yeah, as you stay here and you lean back, still keep extending from the calf muscle to the heel. Yeah, so this extension remains, the compactness remains. Option 1, you stay like this. Don't collapse. So you have to draw the thighs into the hip, lift your sacrum, stretch your heels, move the back of the body in and up. If you're able to straighten your legs, you can straighten your legs. But at the same time, you have to keep the lift of the chest, straight legs. It's a good idea to tighten, bring your big toes, lift the sternum. Now slowly release and down. Paripurna Navasana. Let's do that one more time. Hold on to the back of the legs, squeeze in, lift the chest, keeping your head looking up. So again, strong connection with your outer hips, big toe squeezing, stay in the pose. This will help you. Your legs will work. If you are able to straighten your legs, keep extending through the big toes. Arms straight, chest up. And now bend your knees and down. Okay, now we are going to go for one more Paschimottanasana and then Supta Virasana. So straighten your legs, reach up with your arms, lift up, lengthen the torso, go forward. Now inhale and come up. And next, we are going to go for Supta Virasana. So you can just take a rest after having done all these poses. Before we finish off, we are coming to a cooling off phase. We're going to do Sarvangasana as well. You can always use support for today. You can use the bolster. I'm just going to use a blanket. So I'm going to fold my blanket in 3. And I'm going to keep this long. And I'm going to sit on the floor. But you need to take the right height that's necessary for you. And when you go down, you have to see that your sacrum is extending, your frontal thigh is long, elongating your torso as you go down. And then you can stay here quiet for a few moments. Keep pressing the tops of the feet down, moving the buttocks in, stretching the front thigh bones, stretching your upper arms. Soft, smooth inhale and soft, smooth exhale. Now change the grip of your arms, keeping the whole armpit stretching, pressing the tops of the feet down. Now slowly release, bring your hands down, pressing to the feet and come up into upright position. So now we are going to go for, of course, Sarvangasana. So you can pause the video and get your props ready. I will as well. So I've set up my props for Sarvangasana. So we are going to do Salamba Sarvangasana. Then we are going to Parshva Ekapada Sarvangasana. That means taking the legs to the side and not back. And then we're also going to do Halasana and Parshva Halasana. Okay, so those are the poses to do today. So you got your belt, I hope. So once more, getting ready, making sure your shoulders are on the inside. You can throw your legs back. You can put your belt. See that you've got a good rotation, stretching up, lifting and extending. And then you can place your hands on your back, lifting your back. And then one leg at a time, we go up into Salamba Sarvangasana. So the elbows need to press down. The weight of the body goes more to the elbows. We lift our back, stretching our legs, moving the back ribs in. Thighs tight. Let's hold the pose for a while. Keeping the buttocks in, thighs back, lifting the spine. As we work in the pose, you have to really stretch your legs longer and longer. That helps to lengthen the spine. Otherwise, we collapse into the shoulders and it's difficult to keep the pose after a while. Now we're going to do the variation. So first, you stretch your right leg and you take it down to the side, come down halfway, and then turn to the right side. As you turn yourself to the right side, this is like Supta Padangustasana too. You've got to keep this outer hip lifted as you take your leg down. Don't collapse. Yeah, so both sides of the hip long, and we stretch the leg. Left leg straight. Lift the spine. Then bring your leg up. Again, straighten your right leg, turning your left foot out, taking your left leg down. As you take your left leg down, you have to see that your right leg is straight up and your left outer hip is not dropping as you lower your foot down. So both sides of your spine have to stay strong. Now bring the leg back up. Let's do that one more time. Leg straight, turning your right leg out, keeping the right outer hip in, right outer hip lifted as you lower your leg down. Keep turning your left thigh in, stretching your leg. See if you can go down, but keep the outer hips up. Thighs tight. Bring your leg back up. And we do the other side. Turn your left leg out from the thigh, taking the left leg down, stretching your right leg long, keeping the left outer hip lifted. Keep this left buttock lifting. Right leg straight. Now bring your leg back up. Now we go to Halasana. So take your legs down to Halasana. Just going to adjust my belt a little bit. Yes. Staying in Halasana, you let your hips go a little bit more forward. At the same time, keep your thighs lifted, your waistline lifted. Then we go for Parsvakonasana. So start walking your legs to the right side. And again, The right hip moves in, the left leg stays, your big toes connect. Now come back to the center and start walking your legs to the left. Again, your thighs stay into the hip, lift both sides of the waistline, press your elbows down. Now come back to the center, move the back ribs in, thighs tight. And now we come out, so you can take your belt out. And slowly come out. Be there for a short while. And then we can do Paschimottanasana. So you can use the same setup for your Paschimottanasana. So you can simply sit a little bit higher on the support. Reach up with your arms, lengthening the torso, going down. Now inhale and come up. And yes, it is time for Shavasana. So you have come to the end of the practice sequence for week 18. So let us do a good Shavasana. Be on the center of your mat. See that you've got equal distance. So you're really in the center, so your arms can go out equally on both your right and left. So lengthening the buttocks, go down, keep your knees bent. Lift the head, lifting the back of the head as you lay it down. Then take your outer shoulders down, moving the shoulder blades in, letting the arms become passive, and then slowly slide your legs one at a time and let your feet fall apart. And then be quiet for a few moments. Become relaxed, softening the abdomen, softening the facial muscles, the jaw, and the throat, and being quiet for a few moments. So Shavasana is truly about letting go, letting the body rest, especially if you've done the whole sequence, becoming quiet. Your upper arms are resting. Relax your thighs, your feet. Observe the breath. And you can stay as long as you wish if you're at home. And if you're about to come up, now you can begin to bring your attention back to your breath, taking a deeper inhale. Bring your right hand, your left hand back on your abdomen. Bending your right knee, your left knee, gently rolling over, turning to the side. And then using your left arm to push into the floor with an inhalation, come up. And that is all for today. So thank you for practicing and wishing you well on this journey of learning to practice Iyengar Yoga. Namaste.